They say cancer is the best thing that ever happened to me because it woke me up to what is important. And they live every breath in gratitude. Every moment is a miracle, and they love it. They're living their lives for every moment. And I know that in the human body, when we're not in fight or flight state, and the body can actually activate its own pharmacy, that's a big part of the healing that's going on.
Hi, welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I'm very excited to be here with you. I get the honor of interviewing women from around the world, every corner of the world, and they get to come and share their wisdom, their gifts, their courage, and how they are consciously supporting a more compassionate world where we can lift women. So, what I want you to know is that I really think this is a time for women emerging to bring our consciousness, our gift to the planet. So, what I'm hoping for these podcasts is that you find tools to lift your voice, to bring your leadership, and bring your power to a place where you make a meaningful change. Today, we're going to talk about living your healthiest life. And if the show resonates with you, please subscribe, share, leave a comment. It helps those voices reach further and wider across this globe. You can also reach me at cynthiajames.net. Well, I am very excited about my guest today. Her name is Dr. Donese Worden, and she's renowned for her fearless pursuit of truth in medicine. Never want to shy away from challenging the status quo, she has built a career of questioning outdated systems, advocating for patient-centric healthcare, and pioneering integrative medicine techniques and solutions. She's an award-winning physician, a researcher, an entrepreneur, and a global speaker. She has 2 decades of experience uniquely positioning her to bridge the gap between conventional and advanced alternative medicine. What I love about what her bio says is her commitment to transforming healthcare ensures she will be a revolutionary force in shaping the future of America's health. Whoa, Dr. Denise, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me a voice on your podcast. That's great.
Well, I want to start with how you were born because, I mean, clearly you have a big mission, but where did you grow up? How did you grow up?
I grew up on military bases for the first part of my life, so I learned how to make friends quickly. We were everywhere, maybe 6 months and going. So I was born and raised on Army bases to start with. And many of those were in the South, and I ended up in junior high school for a while in Louisiana. So that's where this accent comes from. Everyone always asks. And I've been in Arizona a while too, but I've lived many places and have wonderful parents and, I just had a great upbringing. You either in a military brat, you either learn to be shy and not make friends with anybody, or you had to make friends quickly, and I made friends quickly.
Well, you've got that kind of personality, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Okay, so I want to talk about how you evolved into medicine. Was it a calling?
I've got an interesting background. I was in media. I worked for NBC and ABC. I was a newscaster, and I had my own television talk shows. And and I happen to know a little background on you. A little bird told me that you were in a pageant or something at one point. So, and here's just kind of the short vision of how I got into all of this. So I was in theater. I love theater. I used to teach violin and piano and was a professional performer of music. And I somebody in my college put me up for a pageant, and I ended up through the long run, ended up winning Miss Louisiana and was win the Miss America pageant. So, because of that, the reason why I'm saying that, there was controversy in how that was being done in my state of Louisiana, how the money was being collected. All the other girls had always had they'd cried themselves to sleep. They didn't do anything about it. Well, it was me. Long story short, I did something about it, and because I did, I got offered. I was going to do my master's degree to get in psychology, but during this controversy that I stood up, was not afraid, and went against a big organization, not Miss America, but just there in the state, and I got offered a spot to be a host on a television talk show because I had been on the talk shows talking about this issue, and they said, "You know what? You should host one." So they offered me my own show. I changed my major, went into broadcasting, and so there you go. I did that, but then I had the realization that you can't, and it's still true today, there are many stories that might be good that are going to get buried because the sponsor of the station doesn't like that story, and that was my very first story that I did, and it was on acid rain, and I went in, I was so proud of this news segment that I had, and they said, "You can't do it. Our sponsor is the local paper mill." And I knew then, I said, "Okay." I thought news was not supposed to be there. Got disillusioned with that, went through a couple of other things that I did in my life, got into a little bit of, politics a little bit. I didn't run for office, but I was supporting those who did. And then, I was going to, college with my young son, who was 7 at the time, attending college, and I'm sitting there thinking, "I love education. Let me go back." I'd always been interested in science and in medicine. So I went back to school, got my pre-med because it had been over 10 years since I had those, and went to medical school. And I it was just you would think it's a complete change, but it's not because the best physicians are good educators, and you
Right.
believe, and now I've got a message that I can speak about that I'm not don't have my hands tied too much about, what I'm seeing and what I have for 27 years of experience. And so now I've got a message and I've got that broadcast background. So I'm as a woman, now's the best time. I think you
Yeah.
would agree. We need
And wait,
more
but can
women
I
to
ask a question? Did you say
Yeah.
your son was in college at 7?
Yes, yes, quite the brilliant boy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I
Uh,
was having to go with him, right, to his
of
his
course.
classes, and I thought, "I might as well, I'm on campus, I might as well go back," and I thought, "Well, let me" I had been entertaining the thought. I'd always been a science nerd, always been into science, and medicine, and so when I realized there was a type of doctor that you could go to medical school and learn both sides, be licensed in alternative medicines and in conventional medicine, I said, "That makes sense," because it didn't make sense to me, conventional medicine for chronic care ever, it still doesn't for the most part. We need surgeons, we need good integrative, we need all of this, but when I found that out, I said, "Okay, there it is. That's my next career."
Well, okay, so I wanna really talk about this because I have a my brain is going, "Da, da, 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 da." So, I have a lot of people that are on spiritual paths, and they have these opinions, I'm gonna call it that, about doctors and medicine, and they're like, "Well, I only wanna do alternative medicine," except here they get cancer, they have some big
Yeah.
thing that's happening in their life, and the alternative isn't isn't helping, and then sometimes they wait too long to get the help. So, can we just talk about the gift
Sure.
of both?
Yes. And, I'm part of a metabolic oncology group. We have a nonprofit that we are starting. Top 80 researchers in the world, and I'm talking all countries and here, that we know that cancer is only 5 to 10% genetic. It's a mitochondrial disease, and that's what we're studying, and that's what I do with my clients and patients from all over the world. I'm educating them in metabolic oncology therapies, that's ketogenic diet, hyperbaric oxygen, repurposed drugs. But we also look at what type of cancer, who is that patient, and there's a time and a place for chemo, for radiation, and for surgery for sure. And it's interesting because sitting there, I will have these patients come in and that mindset that you're talking about say, I saw somebody I love die of chemotherapy. It was horrible. They were sick. I'm not going to do it. And I said, can you, let's just come in with an open mind. Let's look at all of it. Let me educate you in both sides, what we have to offer. They work well sometimes together. And sometimes our metabolic really helps less side effects from conventional care and helps it work better. I said, if it makes sense. Sometimes conventional care is just given because standard of care says this is all we've got. Sorry, it's all we've got. We're going to double your life extension, but we're talking in 4 months compared to 2, and you're going to be ill. That usually doesn't make sense, right? But I say, please keep an open mind because I understand and license in both. And some people still will choose, I don't want any conventional care. And, I try to talk them in, at least take out the bulk of the tumor with the surgery, and then let's talk about all the other things that might be possible. But medicine is an art. And
Mhm.
any good physician will tell you we don't have the answers, all the answers on either side of medicine, and it shouldn't be sides. It should be work together that's truly integrated for the best for that patient and their belief system. And their belief system is very important because what they believe and what they choose is going to work better because they have their own pharmacy that they are initiating when they go, I listened, I learned, I've made my decision. I'm going to be at peace with my decision. I'm going to keep myself educated, and then the body knows how to help. But if they're torn one side or the other, or torn in between two different doctors telling them different things, it's not a good place to be. So,
No.
yeah, so it's really about empowering and knowing the pharmacy in your own body and the strength of that. How do we embody that? How do we get that involved? And why wouldn't we look at both sides of the fence? And I think most people should.
100%. Can you explain for the people that aren't scientists who are listening here, what is metabolic therapeutics?
So, metabolic oncology is, remember, I said only a few cancers are genetic. So, it's damage to the mitochondria, that little powerhouse inside the cell. Every one of your cells have mitochondria. They not only produce the energy for everything, but they also are great signals for cell to cell. They detox the body, talk to the brain. They're like the motherboard for the whole body in this cellular cascade. And here's what you're going to find and what we do is target therapies that support the mitochondria. Because when the mitochondria is damaged and it's not working well, we see cancer form. We believe that for the majority of cancers, that's the issue. Now we can talk about different treatments all day long, but what's causing it? Where is that problem? That's what we're proving with the science that we're working hard on. But here's the fun part that I'm starting to do a few more spiritual talks on this side. Everyone, so you have in your cells, we have DNA. You got some from your mom, some from your dad. Inside that cell, remember, is another little organelle, the mitochondria. And guess where all of its DNA is coming from? The matriarch, all through the female. And remember, this is the motherboard and it communicates organ to organ. It acts like in the body a matriarchal society.
Oh,
How that works, right? And our own body is set up that way, and it's only through the female line. Your mother, grandmother. So I'm getting all of this science and data, and now I'm translating it into a spiritual message as well, and into especially a female empowerment one.
okay, well, you know what I love about this? Can we just get it out to everybody, especially the patriarchal society that we feel important? That would be a really good thing.
That the human body's got it figured out, so let's try to start, yeah, looking at the whole instead of just individual and in certain things, right? But males, I have a meditation that we did. My husband is Barry Goldstein that does a lot of music for Joe Dispenza and all these other people, but we did a meditation together on the mitochondria, and the men are having amazing experiences because they feel like they're connecting to their mother, their grandmother, even if they didn't like them or they don't like them. They're able to connect to the female energy and say, okay, this is part of me. I've got knowledge coming through my body that has only come through the female line. So it's powerful, and I'm still working this up. I'm excited about it.
Well, it's very exciting. So I wanna talk about the internal medical system that we all
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
And because when I worked with some people, what they tell me is they amplify their spiritual practice while they're going through the surgery, the chemo, the immune therapy, all of that. And even though there may be a part where it's intense, that they feel like it's really what has moved them back into the light side.
It's interesting. It's hard for cancer patients when they first come to me, and I get a lot of stage 4 because by the time they get to me, they're stage 4. But when they're not, it's easier. But even stage 4, when those that have gotten past the fear of death and the fear of cancer, that's when we see these spontaneous remissions or people living quality of life for a lot longer than anyone expected. I have noticed those 2 things run through those particular types of patients, and you know what they all say? They say, "Cancer is the best thing that ever happened to me because it woke me up to what is important." And they live every breath in gratitude. Every moment is a miracle, and they love it. They're living their lives for every moment. And I know that in the human body, when we're not in fight or flight state, and the body can actually activate its own pharmacy, that's a big part of the healing that's going on. So, that's some of the things that I work with my patients. I say, we can talk about all the therapies, all the differences, and let's use that. Let's use our minds. Let's use the science. Let's look at this logically. Then you really need to use your intuition, tap into whatever your spiritual belief system is, and believe in what you're choosing because that is where we're going to see some of these amazing things happen.
Well, what I love about this is that you're absolutely right. I mean, I've had clients, and they say that cancer was the gift. It
Yeah.
was an
Yeah.
awakening.
It's
It
hard to
was
hear at the beginning, but it's
right.
true.
But I had a conversation recently about someone that I thought was so interesting. They said, "What if the universe was using illness as the holy grail of transformation for people? What if it was a way for people to absolutely understand what they value, what's important, who they value, why they wanna live on this planet, and how they wanna live on this planet?"
Interesting theory. I'm not sure that in our lifetimes we're gonna know the answer to that, but I
I
will
don't
tell you
know
this.
either.
Or if ever. But what I personally believe, I don't think we have to suffer to find spiritual connection. I don't think that we have to go through miserable, horrible things. And why are we waiting until that happens to do it? So, I mean, there are many people that are spiritually enlightened that have not had major, major struggles. We hear about the ones who have because that's a better story. Look what I went through, look what I had, and look where I am. That's great. It's transformation. But why can't we transform even when we're having a wonderful, beautiful, blessed life? I don't
Well,
think
and
we have
that's
to
why I
suffer.
think and that's
My
why
my opinion.
there's absolutely, but that's why there's a Joe Dispenza, and that's why Greg Braden, these people are out here going, "How about we just amplify our spiritual practice so we don't have to go through that suffer gate?"
Right. Right. That's right. So, there are so many good teachers out there, and then there's others that are different. You have to find who makes sense to you. And anybody that says, "I'm a guru," you need to question. Many of these don't. They're saying, "I'm not a guru. This is what I think. This is what I believe," and they're teaching messages that are transforming people. They are. And, there's so many. I mean, Bruce Lipton, Candace Pert, we could go on and on and on that have left us, but they have left great legacies of this. So I believe that science is finally catching up with spirituality a bit. And I've always, even for the entire time I've been doing medicine, I've asked on my intake. I ask all these questions. I mean, it takes about an hour and a half to fill it out. I want to know everything from head to toe. I want to connect the dots. That's what I do best. But I've always asked, "Do you have a spiritual practice?" I said, "I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about, do you feel connected to something outside yourself? And you have an ability when craziness around you, when things are happening, do you have the ability, a process that you can do to get you back there and feel that peace and that love and that power?" And so I've known from day one in medicine, that's one of the most powerful things that we do. But, we're taught not to give false hope in
Mhm.
medicine, but I think we need to give more hope, not false hope, not to give false hope, but to give more hope because I one thing I also know another thing I know is that the minute you take away hope from a cancer patient or a critically ill any disease that's life-threatening, the minute you take away hope, it's very short time period before they're gone, and
Exactly.
that's the power. The other is most people, if you give them a prognosis, how long they have to live, that there are many people that will die almost to the date, very close to the date when they were told that was their last day. No doctor, no medicine, nothing is that accurate. So that's
Right.
the power of this
Right. That's
and
right.
this. So,
Okay. So you're taking care of all these people.
yep.
How do you take care of you?
I meditate, I exercise, I eat very healthy, I have a great tribe around me. I go through these 7 pillars. I make sure my pillars are working, my digestion. I pay attention. If something's not there, I know, okay, slow it down. You're not paying attention to an area that I need to be taking care of my body. I do this fun 7-pillar checkup, self-checkup with people, and when I speak and do other kinds of talks and speeches, and they love it. It's a simple checklist because your body will send you signals when something isn't right. If you're tired today because you didn't get a good night's sleep last night and you know why you didn't, that's okay. It's transient. It's okay. But if you have unanswered why you're feeling like you are or you're ignoring it, that's a problem. So I don't ignore my body. I listen to it and I make adjustments. But my daily practice, I begin in my day in meditation, and I make sure it's on my calendar, and my calendar is booked minute to minute, 7 days a week. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got 6 different businesses, right? And I see patients.
Mhm.
But calendared in are the important things for me as well, because I can't help anybody if I'm sick. And too many caretakers and people forget that.
Yes,
It's not
absolutely.
selfish. You have to take care of yourself.
Well, I knew that about you, but I'm really glad you got to say it because I think it's really important. So
Yeah.
I want to know, how do people find you? How do they find your work? I mean,
Uh,
I'm looking at your bio and it's like, well, does she sleep? I mean,
no,
how
not really. I do, but I sleep deep when I sleep. That's another thing that's one of the pillars you better have is sleep.
That's okay.
But I don't need as much. I just don't, but I do sleep well. But when I'm up, I'm up. I'm at it. I'm going and I can multitask like crazy. I just can. And I'm not ADD.
Right.
I don't have that to have to get there. I can focus, but they can find me in my website, Dr. Worden, so DrWorden.com. And I've got some things on YouTube, and I should be doing more on Instagram and all that. But I'm, busy with doing some other things right now. But I will tell you about something exciting before we go. I do
Okay.
have a show called Health Hot Seat. It's right now being looked at some major networks. It was already signed by a few, but anyway, it's Health Hot Seat. It's a debate format between alternative and conventional medicine. We started your show today talking about that. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. We want people to hear both sides at once. We have never done that. You hear one side or the other. My show is going to bring that conversation so people can hear both sides, and then I'm going to help interpret it and remind them your own pharmacy is the best.
Well, okay. I just love you. And I love your energy and I love your passion. I thank you. I
Thank
am
you.
so grateful. I ask the same last question of every host, every
Okay.
guest. This show is called Women Awakening. What do you think is the most important thing about women awakening on the planet?
I look at communities and we're back to that matriarchal society of remembering the power that menopause is not a menopause. It is not ovarian failure. We are powerful. And I think that we become even more powerful when our job changes from vessel bearing into the matriarch of our community. And that's your community, the planet, society, everything. And we as women need to have a bigger seat. When I lectured at the United Nations about women and AI's health,
Mhm.
it's we need more women coming to the front, and I think we forget how powerful we really are, and just think about your little mitochondria. Why is it that every bit of that DNA came from the female line? I'm not against males, I love them, I love my husband, I love men. We need both, but we're different animals. Our brains are different, we think differently, and we need more female brains involved at higher levels. And make sure as we all are all caretakers. We have taken on that responsibility for centuries. We still are. And that's the time we stop taking care of ourselves. And so the message is we are powerful. Take care of yourself. And don't be afraid to dare to doubt when something doesn't seem right. Ask the question. You don't have to have a stethoscope or a diploma on your wall. Dare to doubt something that your intuition is telling you is not right. Dare to make that to m ask that next question.
Well, thank you. You're inspiring. I love your energy, and Grateful that you're on the planet and have accepted your mission. Thank you so much for being here.
Likewise, Cynthia, what you're doing. We're all trying to do our part, right? Get the message out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Okay, ladies, let me just say this to you. If you missed any of that, rewind and listen to what she has to say, right? Because I know it's inspirational and she carries a lot of wisdom. But this is what I want you to know. You are here to be healthy. You are here to be powerful. You are here to be dynamic. You are here to be magnificent. So please um, accept the calling within you and do everything that you can to stay in your health and well being. I love that you're at the show. Please subscribe, share it with other women who need it. Come and visit me at cynthiajames.net. And in the meantime, stay strong, keep rising, keep shining, keep awakening because we need you. I love you, and I will see you on the next show. Bye.